Hey everyone, it's Miss Trapani. If you have not met me yet, I am your librarian. And I wanted to share a new video that I'm making for really this time for students and their parents because, I know the school year's underway and we've all kind of gotten started with Google Classroom and doing our assignments, but I've gotten a lot of questions from the kids and all the adults that are helping them, whether it's your parents at home or other family members at home or even your teachers. So I wanted to clear some things up. I made a YouTube channel last year when we first, kind of stopped going to school in person. And on that channel are loads of videos to help all of us, the teachers, the kids, everybody. And I made a 3-part series last year called Getting Started with Google Classroom for parents and students. Please take a look at it if you haven't seen it already. It's 3 separate videos with all the different parts of Google Classroom and how you guys use it. But this year I updated it a little bit. I wanted to share a couple of things that are a little bit different about submitting assignments. And really what I wanted to focus on was submitting assignments when you're using an iPad. Because now this year, all of us in our school are working on iPads for the most part. So I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page. So let's get started. Okay, I'm back. You can all thank me later, but here are a couple of things that I'm sharing with you to keep you informed that teachers absolutely hate. Number 1, when the teacher spends what looks like possibly hours typing and typing and typing and numbering and putting them in bulleted form and listing in great detail every single thing you have to do in order to complete the assignment and probably get 100 on it, and then you don't read the directions. And the second thing teachers hate is when they receive blank documents as assignments. How does that happen? It's a big mystery, but we're not sure, but we think it's because the kids are maybe sometimes going to the assignment, not reading the directions, not clicking on any attachments, not doing the work, and just clicking the big blue mark as done button anyway. So to summarize, read the directions and don't click mark as done until, you're done. Okay, let's get down to business. So now I want to show you how to submit 5 different kinds of assignments that might show up in your Google Classrooms as you're working with all different teachers. So the first thing you need to know is we have to find the Google Classroom app and tap that to get in. Before I do that, I just want to remind you that you should be signed in on your school iPad with not only your district provided Apple ID, but also only signed in on this device with your school Gmail. If you're signed in with any personal email on this device, you're not going to be able to have access to all of the Google apps that we need, like Google Classroom and Google Meet and all that. So very important to be signed in only with your student information. So what I'm going to do is look for Google Classroom. If you already have it, somewhere on your home screen, you can scroll through and find it. I happen to know that mine is right here. So I will click that and then click Classroom right there. When you enter, what you'll know that you're signed in because you can see your little icon, whatever you've changed your little icon to be inside your student Google account. And you're going to see a list of any classes that you are already a member of. And this is a demo student account. So he's not real. This little redheaded guy is Ron Weasley, the character from Harry Potter. And he is a member of lots and lots of classes. So I'm going to find the one that I was messing with here, way down here. there is a class that he's a member of and I'm the teacher of, and it's called Trapani Practice GC. So we're going to go there just for our purposes today. So I'm going to click that class. Once you're in the class, what you'll see is this kind of a view, right? So you've got the header at the top, and that might be where you can find the Google Meet link if your teacher has, set it to appear there, and the join code, and certainly the name of the class. But this view right here is the stream. Sometimes assignments are posted there, but in most cases, I want you to get in the habit of going down to the bottom right there to the word classwork. That's where you're going to see the most current assignments in the right order and with all the attachments. So we'll click right there. And here's the view. So what you'll see in my fake classroom here, I have three topics. The first one, it's in slightly different font. It's called How to Upload Different Types of Assignments, and another one called Tech Tips, and another one called Old Assignments. I point this out only because it's a teacher preference. So you might go to one class and you'll see different headings like these, but you might go to another class and really all you're looking at are, a long list of icons that look like that with no headings and no topics, dividing them up. Either way is fine. It totally works. It's up to the teacher to set it up that way or not. So we are going to take a look at the very first assignment, which is way down on the bottom of the list here. So I'm going to click that. Okay, so here we are in the full view of the assignment, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. We see the title. Most teachers will give you a very specific title of what the thing is about or what's covered, and mine is saying, but there's nothing to type on. That is simply because this is an example of an assignment that you might run into. Your teacher might give you a very long set of directions, right? She's describing what this assignment is. So you might feel stressed out. Well, here's a 5-minute video in order to help clear your mind. When you're finished watching, I hope you can see that on the second line there, share 5 sentences about your experience. So that's the task. That's what you have to do. That's your assignment. Here are the guide questions that they want you to type. And here is the video that this teacher wants you to watch. So that's great. So far, it seems pretty easy. We have directions and we have a video to watch. But when we go down here, first of all, we don't see anything. It says your work, but there's no work there. That's because it's hidden. Your job is to get in the habit of tapping this little up arrow on an iPad. On a computer or a Chromebook, it's much more obvious. It's off to the right-hand side, and you'll see something that you can click on, if there's an attachment or something to work on. This time, you have to tap that little arrow, and then you will see if there are attachments for this assignment. In this case, there aren't any. We have 2 buttons. One says Add Attachment, and the other one says Mark as Done. If you just watch the video, and you don't do anything else, and you hit Mark as Done, your teacher is going to think that the assignment is incomplete because she asked you to write 5 sentences, but she didn't give you a Google Doc to do it on. However, all you have to do is click Add Attachment. So that's the step I think that kids were often missing. If the teacher didn't provide a Google Doc or a Google Slide, they were forgetting to click Add Attachment. So if we tap that, we're going to see we have a bunch of options here. We can choose a document that we may have in Google Drive or add a link, or maybe if we're working on a computer, we can upload a file right from our computer, add a photo, use a camera, or we can choose a new doc, new slides, or new sheets. I'm going to tap New Doc, and I am going to Whoops, we're giving it a second here. It said adding to assignment. And very soon, here we go. Now, if you look at the top, all of a sudden, this document was given a name. It's the name of me, my fake student, Ronald Weasley, and the title of the assignment. It's perfect. That way the teacher knows exactly what this document is, right? So we can click inside, click the little pencil. And now we are able to type. So I can say, I watched the 5-minute video. I enjoyed it. I learned many things. And here are the answers to your 5 questions. Done. Okay. I'm going to hit the check mark. And there it is. So now when we go back, whoops. Now when we go back to our assignment, you'll see that there is actually a document there. So now it's perfectly fine to hit turn in. We're not just marking as done, we're actually submitting something. So please click turn in and your teacher will receive that new document that you made. And it says attachment will be submitted, just to remind you that you're doing the right thing, and you can hit turn in. Now the button changes to unsubmit. So now you know it has been submitted to your teacher. There's a document there. You watched me put some silly typing on it. And so if a teacher says I didn't receive anything or I received something that's blank, this really is an indicator that you actually did the work. If you had only clicked mark as done, he or she may come back to you and say you hit mark as done, but there was nothing attached. Okay, so now you know you're going to add your own Google Doc if the teacher doesn't provide one for you. Okay, I am back to the list of assignments inside my Google Classroom, and it's a little bit tough to see, but if you zoom in a little bit, you can see that the assignment we just did, but there's nothing to type on, is a little bit grayed out. That shows that it's done. The brighter or darker gray is going to show the ones that I still have left to complete. So the next one that I'm going to show you is, okay, I have a doc to type on, now what? So I'll tap that one, and you'll see that it looks very similar. There is a description, but it's a little shorter. This time it says, hey, you know, distance learning might have you stressed out, but please watch this video, and when you're finished, now the directions change, right? When you're finished watching, open the Google Doc attached and answer the questions about your experience. So this time, the teacher actually prepared a Google Doc, maybe some kind of a template or worksheet that they want you to type into. It could easily have also been Google Slides. Same idea. And they've also attached, under the word attachments, the video that they would like you to watch. That video could also have been, just like in the first assignment, it could also have been, hey, read this article, take a look at this worksheet, look at this diagram, look at this political cartoon, check out this image, right? So anything that they've attached here is really, that might just be something to look at, will be showing here under the word attachments. The things that they want you to type on and edit are down here. So now we know, although it looks blank, there's clearly something assigned, but we don't know where the work is. We now know we have to tap this little arrow. And this time the window looks a little bit different. There still is a turn in button. So we could technically press turn in right now, and that teacher is going to get basically a blank document that we have not edited. So we don't want to do that yet. If we needed more, documents attached, maybe your teacher also wanted you to attach a video or attach something else in addition to the Google Doc, you can always add more attachments, just like showed up before. But what they did attach is a Google Doc, and you'll see, just like before, it already has your name on it and the title of the assignment. So this time I can click right on that attachment and give it a second to load. And here it comes. So there we go. So now this teacher has typed up sort of a worksheet, right? So now we can, click on the pencil so we can edit it. Here it comes, opening in Google Docs. Okay, so now we should be able, So we're going to click the attachment. And here it is, sort of kind of a picture of the assignment. It's not exactly a Google Doc yet. In order to turn it into a Google Doc, we're going to click this little icon way up in the corner. It looks like a square with an arrow coming out of it. I'm going to tap that, and that's going to save it to my Google Drive. So now it shows that I'm signed in, and here is my document. So now down in the corner, there's a pencil. So I can hit that pencil, and now you'll see all those buttons that we're used to for Google Docs, right? Bold and all of that. So we can click anywhere on the document and type. So I can type Ron Weasley for my name. And after each question, maybe I want to, hit space and start typing my answer. So here's my, here's my crazy answer for that question, and for that question, and for that question. And once I know that I am finished, I'm going to go line by line, type my responses. Once I'm all set, then I am going to click the check mark in the corner. And then we can go back one more time. You see there's a back arrow next to the title of the document. Whoops. And go back to Classroom. And here we are. So now that I've typed on it, I can hit turn in. Turn in your work. And there is the turn in button one more time. Okay, so now again, that document called Ronald Weasley that the computer named for us has been submitted to my teacher. Okay, here we are back at the list of those 5 assignments. And now we can see that 2 of them are that lighter gray color to show that they've actually been completed. Now I'd like to take a look at the one right in the middle here. And this one is entitled, "This one's a Google form. Now what do I do?" I think this is going to be a common one. If it hasn't been already, teachers are getting more and more comfortable using Google Forms for not only tests and quizzes, but also for, just regular old homework assignments. So you might see this, with lots of your assignments now instead of Google Docs. So let's figure out how to get used to those. Let's tap the name of the assignment. And we're going to see a view that looks very similar to the one from before that had a Google Doc attached. A couple of differences, though. Number one, it still has a title, but the difference here in the directions is that instead of it telling us to click on the attachment to find the Google Doc, it's telling us right away that we're going to be looking for a Google form. So you see that icon is purple right there. And that is actually the second difference. So so far we have seen under attachments just that YouTube video. In the very first assignment, we saw the same YouTube video, and in the second one, that YouTube video was the only thing listed there, and we had to find the Google Doc or create the Google Doc ourselves by tapping this arrow down at the bottom of the screen. This time, we don't have to do that. The Google form is attached right under the word attachments below the video. So our job would be to watch the video or read the article or look at the image or whatever it is your teacher has asked you to do, and then go into this Google form. So let's tap it. And we can open with either Google Chrome or Safari. I always recommend using Google Chrome because it's a Google product, just like Google Docs and Google Forms and Google Classroom. So we're going to kind of stick with that Google theme and click open. And let's see how our Google form looks. So it might prompt you to sign in. Hopefully it remembers us, but if it asks you to sign in, we're going to say, here we are. I am Ron Weasley. And it remembered me. So now I'm looking at the form. So here it is. We've got our directions. Make sure you read them. And then you're going to see some questions, right? So maybe your teacher will include an image or a map or a diagram or a math problem, and you've got to choose your answer. So sometimes you might have to select a button. Sometimes you might have to do a pull down like this where you choose your answer. Maybe another button. And you might even have a place where it says your answer. And if we tap there, we can actually type in a short response. So what was that question? Do you think you would try it again? I would say, yes, I would, because... ... and fill in my blank. And then the final question asked me to copy and paste a YouTube link. I'm going to skip that for now. And you can either select send me a copy of my responses or leave that alone if you don't need to see your answers. And hit submit. Oh. There we go. It wouldn't let me leave that answer blank. So now the response has been recorded, but I have another direction here. It says open assignment. Why? Because we have to make sure that it is complete. So let's take a peek at what it looks like now. So here it is. Feeling stressed. We see our Google form. Nothing looks different here yet. Let's take a look at this arrow down here. And the final step is to mark as done. So now that I've watched the video and filled out the form, now I can click that little arrow and actually mark the assignment as done so the teacher knows that they can go ahead and look for my Google form on their iPad or computer. Hit mark as done, and we are all set. So now hopefully that explained or demonstrated how to submit a Google form if that was part of your assignment. Okay, back again to this list of our 5 assignments. Now we can see 3 of them have been completed, and the remaining 2 assignments both have are examples of what you could possibly have to do with a PDF attachment. So one of them says, I have a PDF attachment, what do I do with it? And the other one says, I'm supposed to write on a PDF, but how do I do that? So let's take a look at each of those. So here's the 4th kind of assignment, which is writing on a PDF. So we'll click on the assignment, and this time we've got a title and we've got some directions. It says, let's practice addition facts. Write your answers on the attached worksheet and submit. So I don't see a place for attachments here. So now I know from experience, I've got to go down to this arrow at the bottom and tap that. Now on this screen, we can see that there is a PDF attachment with my name on it waiting for me. I could have also added my own, and I certainly will have to hit turn in, but not yet. First, I have to do the work, right? So the directions said to write directly on this PDF. So let's practice our addition. We'll click the PDF, and here is our document. So up in the corner here, so here are our math facts. And up in the corner are a couple little buttons. If we click the pen, we have some choices down here where we can actually write. So I'm going to leave it as a pen, and I'm going to use my finger or a stylus to type an answer. Let's see how sloppy my handwriting is. Nice. Okay, so I would go through and fill out that whole worksheet with handwriting. When I'm all finished, I'm going to hit save. So remember, my teacher already created a document that has a copy just for me. So it's named and it's ready to go. So now if I hit the X, we have the edited version. You see it switched to edited, and it's got the same name and the title of the worksheet. And now I'm ready to hit turn in. So writing on a PDF is just that simple on an iPad. Hit turn in, and it's just reminding me we have an attachment and we are going to be submitting it. Yes, we are. Let's hit turn in, and now we are good to go. So it's showing again, it switched to that unsubmit button. Okay, so we're back at this list of assignments for the last time. This is the 5th kind of assignment, very similar to the one we just did with the PDF, but this one has a PDF attachment just like the other, but instead of asking us to write directly on it using a stylus or just our finger using the pen tool, the directions for this one, if we click it, say, I want you to practice what we learned about fractions. Print out the attached worksheet and follow the directions. When you're finished, take a picture of the sheet and submit it. So this one is a little bit different. So again, there are no attachments listed here. We are going to click the arrow that we're now very familiar with. And again, we will see a PDF document already named just for us that our teacher added to this assignment. So if we click the PDF, there it is. So there's our worksheet, and the directions are to color, right? So each of these things asks us to color. So now let's say your teacher wanted you to print something out and label all the parts of it, or color, or draw something, or show your work in a math problem and then take a picture and submit it, right? So there are lots of variations of this. I just picked a really easy kind of assignment. So what we have to do with this assignment is print it out. So first thing we're going to do is click this little icon, again, that little square with an arrow. It's actually right next to the pen we just used last time. When we click that, it's going to save it to our drive. There it is. And from here, it looks just the same. The screen looks the same, but now you see these options up here in the upper right corner are a little bit different. So now if we click the three dots, that's where we're going to see the print option. So you'll click print, and once it comes out, it will look something like this. Just a plain old worksheet. There we go. And you're then going to actually do the work, right? So now, a little time goes by, and here is our finished work. So you see I've put my name on the top, and I've done exactly what the directions said. Okay, so we've got our finished worksheet, and now I went back to the assignment. I know it was previously showing a picture of the blank PDF on the iPad. I just went back to the assignment, and it's a little different this time. The PDF does not say edited, because remember, we didn't actually make any change to it this time. So instead, we're actually going to use this add attachment button, just like we did back in that very first assignment I showed you earlier. So if I click add attachment, it gives me the option of how I want to attach it. Is it something I have already saved on my iPad? Is it a new doc? Or do I want to use my camera? That's what I would like to do. So I'm going to click camera. And you may have to enable the settings. So I want to access the camera. We'll click OK. And now it wants to, let's see, I'm trying to use my phone and my iPad at the same time. This is not going to work very well. Okay, so let's say this was a good view of the document. It is not, but let's say it is. I am going to click the little white button on the side here. And there we go. We hear the camera sound. So now this is the terrible picture that I took. It's not the full document. You'll do a better job because you'll be using two hands. So once you have that image, I'm going to choose down here, use photo. And it's loading my little attachment. Give it a second. And we should see. There we go. So now it named it, instead of with my name, the title of the assignment, right? Because I'm attaching something inside this assignment, which is great. So as long as I put my name on that document I just took a photo of, the teacher will know exactly who it belongs to. And I can hit turn in, just like we did in all the other assignments, and just verify that there are, oh, there's two attachments. Oh, sorry, we should get rid of this other one because remember that is blank, right? That was the original. So let's get rid of the blank one so the teacher doesn't get confused. What if she looks at that one first? She's going to say, this kid gave me a blank document. We don't want that. So let's get rid of the blank one. And now the one that I took a picture of that is colored in purple should be good to go. And we'll click turn in. And yes, I would like to turn out in that one document. And there it goes doing its thing. So it switched to unsubmit to show that, yes, I have actually submitted something. So I hope that this video helped explain the ways that you can submit 5 different kinds of assignments. Don't forget to take a look at my YouTube channel for other videos that might help you. I know the title says Tech Tips for Teachers, but remember, these videos in many cases can help the students and their families as well.